folks. While staying home for the COVID-19 quarantine, I took some time to dive into a tool called Geru that I'd like to share. Despite appearances, it's not a diagramming tool for funnels. It's a funnel simulator. Think about financial spreadsheets, but with a visual interface into how funnels really work. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick run-through of a funnel that I'm creating for myself. The basics should be familiar to all of us already, regardless of what tool set we use. The mind-blowing part comes at the end when I run the simulation. Please don't get lost in the numbers. Just look at the patterns. I've used 25% and 75% across the board for simplicity. At the end, I want to share a huge aha that the tool revealed that could be hurting every one of us, especially if you're doing paid traffic for yourself or for your clients. Let's start with the overview. I'm driving traffic to my landing page here using Google AdWords. You can add as many traffic sources as you want, and each one can have its own costs per click or impression, as one would expect. I'm using just one here for simplicity with a $1 cost per click, and I'm going to buy 100 clicks. Next, on my landing page, I'm going to assume that 10% of my visitors click on at least one of my 2 calls to action. If you're following, of the 100 clicks that I just bought, I now have 10 taking one of the CTA pathways. Now, between my 2 CTAs, I'm assuming that 25% will book a demo, my primary CTA, and that 75% will take the transitional call to action and get my lead magnet, which is 6 ways to make money with Infusionsoft. Let's look at those people getting the email first. The first thing I do is confirm their email, and I'm going to assume that 75% of the people are real and 25% never confirm. You can set whatever numbers you want. Then, in the email series, I'm grouping all emails as just one email here for simplicity. I'm going to assume that 25% of the people click on the email to another content page. And of those, 25% again will take the next step and book an appointment for a demo. That wraps up the pathway for the transitional call to action. Next, let's go back to those who wanted a demo right away. That was 25% of those who took any action. It works out to about 3 of those 100 leads that I bought. Again, I'm assuming my funnel leaks, and only 75% of the people who wanted a demo actually booked time with me. I confirm these people too, and again, I assume that 75% of them are real. I send them a reminder before the call, and again, I assume that 75% of them show up. Of the people that I talk to, 100% of them will take some action, because one of the actions is doing nothing. I'm optimistic that of those that I get on the phone, 75% will buy something, and I have an entry point offer for $1,000 and a full product for $4,000. Again, I'll be optimistic and assume that 75% will buy. And of those, 75% will go to the entry-level product, with the remaining 25% of buyers taking the premium product. So let's run the simulation. I spend $100 and got nothing to show for it. It's not a big surprise when my funnel is so leaky, right? Well, maybe not. Let's play with some of the numbers. Spending $100 in AdWords, assume that I spend $1,000. Rerun the simulator, and now I come out making almost 30 grand. There's the first aha. In a numbers game, if you play too small, you lose. Go big or go home. But nobody wants to go big on something that's unproven. How do you know if playing bigger will help or run you deeper into the ground? That's where this simulator comes in. Let's go back to playing small and only spending $100 again. Rerun the simulation, and we're back to losing it all. This is actually the starting point for most businesses. It's also the starting point for showing the value of good copy and the StoryBrand process. So let's see what happens if we increase a client's opt-in rate here from 10% up to 25%. With a well-designed site using the StoryBrand framework for communication, this is not unreasonable for a targeted audience. Now, let's rerun the simulation again. And even with the lower budgets, we can still be profitable, turning that $100 into almost $5,800. Oh, and back to Geru, that already includes things like merchant fees and cost of goods, all of which you can plug in. On top of that, it has built-in reports giving you most of what your clients are going to want to see. Revenue, profit, traffic, leads, earnings per click, cost per lead, cost per acquisition, long-term value, return on ad spend, and cost per click. The lessons here are twofold. First, start with good copy, since it makes your conversions better anywhere that you use greater clarity. This lines up with what StoryBrand says about the more you implement, the better results you see. And once that's handled, you need a tool like Geru to see whether increasing your budget will likely yield more results or just throw more money down the drain. Without these calculations, you're really flying blind with paid advertising. If you'd like to run a simulation for your funnel or for one of your clients, please go to PrimaryGoals.com and schedule a consultation.